Twilight over the choppy waters of the Persian Gulf. Two advanced stealth fighters cut through the clouds, maintaining total radio silence. Below them, a heavy transport helicopter remains mere feet above the water. The stealth fighters maintain a tight escort formation, shielding the vulnerable craft as they push into contested airspace. By hugging the waves, the helicopter hides within a physical radar shadow, which keeps its large profile invisible to ground-based detection systems. Modern stealth is a state of total reliance on an information vacuum. Because these aircraft lack heavy physical armor, their survival depends entirely on the absence of a trackable signature. In covert operations, silence is the primary defense. A quiet radio becomes the only indicator of a successful insertion, or a sign that a threat is watching from the darkness. A sudden flash on the horizon breaks the mission silence. A surface-to-air missile battery has ignited, sending a high-speed smoke trail toward the formation. Inside the cockpit, the radar warning receiver triggers. This internal alarm system detects the specific radio frequencies of hostile targeting radar. The alarm signals that the mission's invisibility has failed. The aircraft are no longer ghosts. They are now actively painted by enemy weapon systems. Once an aircraft's presence is broadcast, a deliberate mission becomes a reactive race against a rapidly shrinking window for survival. Hostile interceptors are diving through the clouds from above, aggressively closing the distance to the exposed transport helicopter. The attackers deploy short-range, heat-seeking missiles. These weapons track the massive thermal signature of the helicopter's turbine exhaust, which glows intensely against the cold twilight air. The helicopter's defense systems respond by ejecting thick clusters of magnesium flares, which burn significantly hotter than the engines. This tracking view shows the missile's infrared seeker locked onto a single heat source. When the flares deploy, that signature multiplies into dozens of competing thermal points, forcing the seeker to lose its track. However, modern seeker algorithms can distinguish the specific spectral signature of burning magnesium. They seamlessly filter out the decoys and maintain their strict lock on the helicopter's turbine. Ultimately, defensive countermeasures are merely statistical probabilities. When the seeker outsmarts the decoy, a direct physical impact becomes inevitable. The missile strikes the tail boom, shearing off the tail rotor and instantly destabilizing the aircraft. The destruction is fundamentally driven by torque. The overhead main blades generate an immense rotational force on the helicopter's body as they spin. This top-down schematic shows these forces. The tail rotor provides a continuous lateral thrust that cancels the twisting force of the main blades, keeping the aircraft stable. Without that thrust, the fuselage whips in the opposite direction, forcing an uncontrollable counterspin. In this state, the helicopter is aerodynamically unrecoverable. It enters a dead man's spin, plummeting rapidly toward the dark ocean below. Catastrophic flight failure is the immediate consequence of torque overcoming the airframe's structural integrity. High above the wreckage, Viper 1 transitions to an aggressive intercept. The pilot pulls a high G turn, bringing the stealth fighter's nose onto the attacking jet. The flight computer processes sensor data to acquire a target lock, translating airspeed and trajectory into a precise firing solution. A lethal missile drops from the internal weapons bay and instantly ignites, streaking across the sky toward the interceptor. The weapon utilizes mid-air SIN adjustments to track the maneuvering target with robotic precision, closing the distance at 3 times the speed of sound. Surviving an aerial ambush requires the capability to transition from prey to predator before the opponent can reset their attack. Cinema often depicts dogfights as drawn-out ballets of maneuvering aircraft. This entire engagement, from the initial radar warning to the destruction of both aircraft, lasted 60 seconds. Success in modern aerial combat relies on a rigid trinity. First, sensor dominance. Next, countermeasure reliability, and aerodynamic stability. At these speeds, a single technological vulnerability transforms advanced engineering into ocean debris in seconds.